Today I am going to show you how to draw a figure. Basically, it's like a 1 minute or 2 minute gesture, and for each gesture, I'm going to break it down to episode, and for each figure, I'm going to break it down to you guys how my thinking process. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you have any question, please post them down below. I will get to you guys whenever I can, or whenever I have time, but I'll try to get through them all, right? Please click thumbs up if you like the video. If you want to subscribe, please feel free. And if you want to know more, then you can go to my website or go to Gumroad/Xia Taptara, or the link are down below the video. And you can download the longer, more version of the tutorial, the ultimate digital painting for beginners. Well, enough talking. Let's get started. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a body in pose with the cross leg and crouching, like what you see on the screen right here. Alright, so I'm going to explain to you my thought process of this pose. So usually I'll try to capture a big mass first. So I'll start to, basically when I start, I'm looking at the hips, and this would be the form that I kind of look at. And if you break it down to three-dimensional, then it would look like this, right? But then your pelvic bone look different. But then, I'm trying to look at the not the bone itself, but the whole mass. Then the whole mass, they are not solid mass, and they able to stretch and squash. So you're gonna have to take that into consideration. And if you take a look, then you might want to have like the torso here, and you have to also look which is the front of the pelvic. So if you break it down, this is the front of the pelvic facing this side, and the torso front is facing a little bit downward, right? And a lot of you asked me where do I get the reference for the gesture. I would recommend the New Master Academy. I have the link down below. They have a pretty nice set of video on YouTube that I can usually go into and get the quick gesture pose pretty quick. So you might want to do that every morning. Like I'm trying to do that every morning because I get to work pretty early, or on the weekends if you can. So getting the front part of the torso and the pelvic is important because your body can twist and turn, right? And the twist and turn, that's what gonna make your figure look fluid. So say if this is a regular figure and then you turn it, this one facing this way, this one facing that way, and then you have the pose, right? So this is basically the same thing. The pelvic is curving up and facing the upward, and then the torso facing front and slightly bending downward, which people's body are pretty flexible. So now I didn't actually start the torso before I get the foot down. So I start off with the pelvic, right? And then I try to get this legs. And you have to see which direction of the legs are going. You have to kind of break it down to three-dimensional form and adding the contour line. And this is the bottom end of the knees or the thighs. Then you're gonna have a kneecap, and then this coming down, and it might face link downward. So break it down into something that's easier for you to identify. If you're a painter, you might want to break it down differently. So you probably want to break it down into cylinder. That's when you're gonna paint, because you're gonna try to get the different lighting, right? But if you're drawing, you're trying to get the contour. So, and the foot, I usually break it down into this kind of like a cube thing. either you see the bottom, and if you break it down to the box, it's a lot easier for you to identify because you have 3 faces, and those are going to be the indication of which, if you're seeing the bottom of the foot, or if you're seeing the side of the foot or the top of the foot, right? So it's kind of different than the cylinder. The cylinder will give you the fluid look of the mass, or the groups of muscle. Then once I have that, then I'm going on to this side, but this one is actually the knee is coming toward this way and the legs is crossing over, and then you see I might mess up on that foot a little bit, but what I didn't mess up is the weight distribution. So I'm trying to get everything to make everything down to this point of weight, but then you have another anchor point here, so that's going to be your arms kind of going a little bit back, then this coming forward. So when you're trying to draw a figure, you have to imagine or visualize which direction is that limbs going. Like if the elbow is going backward, the shoulder is coming forward, or is it slightly left, right? So try to break it down into that 3-dimensional object. Then you are going to get a pretty successful and fluid form for a human form when you're drawing. And like the head, I'm also getting a really quick line of the eyes here, and then the top of the head, right? And a little bit into the perspective. That's why she have a pretty small chin, and she's kind of facing a little bit down. And then I'm trying to get a little of the pelvic bone there. And if this video, I'm not going to explain everything about drawing everything. This is episode 2, right? So you keep watching, and hopefully you get some more information about the life drawing or drawing figure from me, and hopefully I can help you get through some of the obstacle that you are facing when you're drawing a human figure. Okay, so that's basically how I break this down. And about the weight distribution, usually this mass, or I would explain it later, but the easier way to kind of explain it here is like you're trying to get, if you have a shape, all these shape of the mass should kind of be equal, but since it's a little bit heavier on this side, because it's had the anchor point here, which is kind of grabbing onto something, right? And then in this pose, you can use it to put into your comics or in your storyboard or in your key visual to be like she's kind of just getting up, or she's kind of jumping down, getting up again, or something like that. So all those life drawing can become handy if you have a sketchbook and you go sketch all the time. So either in life drawing or either if you're doing it online, it doesn't matter as long as you grabbing your pencil and start scribble away. All right, guys. Well, let's get started drawing so you can see how I actually draw it. All right, so I start out with a blank canvas. I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook Pro, but you can either use Procreate or anything that you can draw on, like pencil and paper. They are basically the same. The foundation are the same. So as you can see, I started with the torso and then pelvic and start to get the line drawn on the top leg and then the bottom leg, as I explained. Then I'm trying to get the proportion first, and then the shape of the proportion, like you can see me fixing the line on the second leg here. And if you go see the people, like I said, the muscle or the flesh can be stretched and squashed, but then the bone inside are solid. So sometime when you bend out your knee, your flesh will start kind of clashing, and it would extend it or reduce. Then you will, like if you bend your knee down, sit down on your knee and you sit your butt on your heels, then you see that those lines for your lower part of your legs are pretty thin. If you go to live drawing a lot, you see that also. Now I'm getting the arm, and in the actual image it doesn't actually have the same hairstyle that I'm doing here, and I'm adding the hairstyle that I have so that I can get the look downward flow, and the hair would be a good addition to this drawing, I thought, because I kind of want to add something on that side. Then once I have that, I didn't have enough time to get to the chest part, but I'm trying to adding a darker line to emphasize the weight or the thicker mass. Alright, so we are pretty much done here. If you have any questions, post them down below the comment. And if you like the video, also click the thumbs up. And if you like this series, please let me know so I'm going to continue doing these. Alright guys, have a great day. Alright, enjoy your coffee. Have a great day.